All right, going back to the top news we are tracking here on DD India News are killings of Hindus in Bangladesh. 2 killings in 24 hours and 6 in the last 18 days alone raises concerns over the safety of the Hindu minority there. And joining us is Professor Veena Sikri. She's a former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh and Malaysia. Professor, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, 40-year-old Sharad Chakraborty Moni, a grocery shop owner, was killed in Bangladesh on Monday, 5th January. But he's not the first. Let me go through the list for the benefit of our viewers. Rana Pratap Bairagi, journalist, was shot and had his throat slit at Manirampur in Jessore district. Kokon Das, 50 years old, a pharmacy owner, was attacked while returning home after closing his shop in Keharbhanga Bazaar. Rajendra Bishwas, a garment factory worker, shot dead while on duty in Mymensingh. Amrit Mondal, 29, was lynched by a mob in Rajbari. And Deepu Chandra Das, a garment factory worker, was lynched by a mob. His body hung from a tree and set on fire in Mymensingh. The question is, are these isolated, sporadic crimes, or is it more sinister than that? Do you see a political conspiracy or motive or design behind these killings?
You know, one is forced to see a definite pattern in all these killings because this has been happening since the 5th of August last year. And we know that on the 5th of August last year, when Sheikh Hasina left Dhaka, I mean, these were the three things that started simultaneously at that time. First was the attack on the Awami League, every statue of Sheikh Mujib or Sheikh Hasina or any institution named after them. Awami Leaguers were taken to jail, charged with murder. So many were killed. That was one stream. Second stream of activities was against the minorities, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Christians, and even the Muslim minorities like Sufis and Ahmadiyas. All of them were attacked bitterly. Their shrines were torched, their temples were burned, their churches and monasteries were spoiled and desecrated. And this has been continuing since then. And since then, they've been saying, no, this is not, this is just happening just like that. But we know that, say, for example, the tragic lynching of Deepu Chandra Das, or the killing of the person today, in fact, now what is happening in the last few days, in the last 2 or 3 killings, there is even reports coming out in Bangladesh that this is because the people, especially in rural areas, are insisting on being paid jizya, the jizya tax, the tax that in Aurangzeb's time they were charging from non-Muslims. That tax is now being demanded from the non-Muslims. And they're being told either you pay or you'll be shot dead. And this is what has happened. The shopkeeper, he was absolutely one of those. His own relatives have said that these same people who shot him dead, they had come a couple of days earlier and asking him to pay a jizya tax. So this is such a, worrisome situation for the minorities in Bangladesh. Yeah, that it needs to be looked into.
Absolutely.
And why it's not causing any comment in the Western countries. I think India has to take very serious.
Indeed, we'll come to all of that in just a bit, Professor. But in the meantime, since you refer to a pattern in these killings, people want to know and are wondering tonight as we speak, were the assailants all belonging to a particular community, number one? And were they affiliated to a political party or organization? So what is your assessment? I'm talking about the assailants here.
Yeah. I think that the fact that most of the killers, right from last year, have been from the non-minorities. That means they've not been either Hindus or Buddhists or Christians, and certainly not Sufis or Ahmadiyya. So that leaves that for the Muslim. That is one thing that has been a very prominent pattern. Now the question is whether they have political affiliation. Very much what has happened since last July, August in Bangladesh is that the Jamaat-e-Islami is in charge. They are the party behind Dr. Muhammad Yunus, and he is more or less doing their bidding. He is their spokesperson, as it were. Now there is also the BNP, and there's a lot of the BNP that is responsible for the extortionist activities in the rural areas. And they've been sort of, whether it is taking extortion from the farmers or from the minorities or even from factory owners, it is the BNP that has been really been given the blame for this. That right from last year, they are the ones who have been doing this. And of course, the minority communities always remember that it was the BNP when Khaleda Zia was elected Prime Minister in 2001. For 3 months, there was a complete killing spree on the minorities because the BNP, the victorious BNP rural leader said, well, you didn't vote for us, so we're going to get you. That kind of thing. And this time, because after 15 years of Awami League's rule, continuous 15 years, the BNP was feeling completely, isolated, and they got back with a real vengeance this time. And a lot of the activities in the rural areas are being blamed on the BNP, so much so that the minorities do not want to vote for the BNP.
Right.
So they don't want to go into the vote at all. They said, we don't want to vote at all, and we'll never vote for the BNP because they are the ones who are doing all this. Earlier on, the ones who were responsible for it in 2001, they have never forgotten that. And even now, the last 18 months, we know it's their people who's doing all this to us. So there's a great deal of dissatisfaction, and I think one of the important factors should be to work for inclusive elections, not just fixed a friendly match between BNP and Jamaat, but between all the parties. Yeah.
Even more appallingly, Professor Sikri, sexual violence against Hindu women has also been reported. A 40-year-old woman was tortured, raped, tied to a tree and had her hair cut. And there's hardly been any outrage in Bangladesh. Why is that so? And more importantly, what does that tell you about Bangladesh's government and people today?
Absolutely, they are not concerned at all. In fact, I think the treatment of the women has been really horrendous because, the rapes and the lynchings have been there since last year. And I must tell you that this is something that is affecting all the women of Bangladesh. In fact, all the women of Bangladesh, they now, in fact, are scared even to go on the streets alone. Although the women of Bangladesh are very dynamic and they are, among the factory workers, ready-made garment workers, they are largely women, millions of them working in the ready-made garment factories. But now, in the last 18 months, they are not allowed to go on the streets. They are questioned, why are you wearing this or the other? Why isn't your hair covered? Why are you wearing a teeka? They call it teep in Bangladesh, in Bengali. And they just don't want the women to be anywhere. And the atrocities against women in Bangladesh, all women, I would say, definitely all women, has really shown a marked increase, so much so that even all the rights for women, women have not been given any place even in the NCP, which is the Students' Party, so-called Students' Party, formed after the uprising. The last year it was, you cannot call it a revolution, you cannot call it a spontaneous student uprising, but whatever it was, there were women and there were a lot of the genuine students who got together with that, thinking that yes, this is for the overall cause of students. But very soon they realized there's nothing to do with students. This is only a Jamaati organization. It's the Islami Shibir. So the women left. And even now, when the NCP was formed and some women were still there in the convening committee, they actually, have left now. They resigned. They say there's no place for women there. So, the treatment of women has been really a problem. Yeah.
Indeed. And talking about the world, Professor Sikri, I have a twofold question for you. One, why do you think the killings of Hindus not created ripples in global media? Number one, why has the world media not taken note of these killings? And two, why have foreign governments or agencies not reacted to these killings either?
Oh, I think I would say this is downright hypocritical because the entire regime change operation took place with the support of certain countries. And if those countries, they worked through Pakistan and Pakistan acted through the Jamaat-e-Islami. But the Western countries who supported that have just kept quiet. And I think that they themselves are highly embarrassed and maybe even to a certain extent ashamed that a person like Dr. Mohammed Yunus, whom they had placed all their trust in, and who was expected to govern admirably and maintain law and order and bring the police back, because so many policemen were killed, thousands of policemen were killed during the July uprising, and the people who are today in charge, some of them have boasted on media that yes, we did kill policemen. If we did not, we would not have succeeded. So, that is the kind of atmosphere that is prevailing in Bangladesh.
Absolutely, indeed.
Mohammad Yunus has not been able to bring it under control. He's not been able to bring in the slightest atmosphere of, rule of law, of international law or domestic law, respect for the constitution. And now, together with the election, they want to do a referendum. I mean, this is absolutely amazing that they want to do a referendum, which is not allowed by the Constitution of Bangladesh as it is presently written. And they want to do it on the same day as the Constitution. They want to bring in a series of questions, about 43 items, but they want the people to give a one yes or no answer. And the
Right.
July charter, which is, they want that, is not even there attached to the referendum
Indeed.
document. So, I mean, it shows that these the Jamaat-e-Islami is in a very great hurry.
Right.
The top is going to be a national government with the Jamaat-e-Islami and the BNP and with Dr. Mohammad Yunus as president. So it's a kind of a fixed match that is going on.
Indeed.
I think our government has been quite correct in speaking very firmly.
And talking about India, Professor Sikri, if I can, get myself one last word on this discussion, what should India do to save the lives of these Hindus in Bangladesh? For instance, should India offer refuge to Bangladeshi Hindus?
I think India has to first make sure that the rule of law prevails in Bangladesh, because the number of the minorities is close to 2 crores.
Right.
Close to 2 crores. And I don't think that there's any part of India which could take on such a law without any So I think that there needs to be very serious thought about this.
Right.
That there has to be provision for them in Bangladesh. And interestingly, the minorities themselves, this time in August of 2024, they themselves said, we don't want to leave the country. We are citizens of Bangladesh. We want our rights. So, in fact, Chinmoy Das was organizing them, and he made a list of rights for them. But he was put in jail immediately for 1 year. For more than 1 year, he's been in jail with no trial, no bail, no charges, nothing. So the efforts of the minority communities have been totally wasted. And yes, they're in a desperate condition. But I think it is first and foremost to say that Bangladesh must. The citizens of Bangladesh, they are demanding their rights and they must be given their
Indeed.
rights.
So as you say, the onus lies on Dhaka and squarely on Dhaka itself to ensure that the minorities in general and Hindus in particular are protected in their country, is it not?
Absolutely.
All right. On that note, we'll leave it there for now. Professor Sikri, thank you for joining us and sharing your perspectives with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.